this computer. Okay, welcome everyone to, my name is Tara Larson and welcome to my weekly virtual online cooking class from my own kitchen. And, you know, this is one of the ways we pivot during these crazy times is by offering a lot of virtual classes, online videos and things like that. And when we used to almost be exclusively live classes. So now we have so many ways to go ahead and do this. And I love it because I can set my whole kitchen up and come to you anywhere in North America over my phone or my computer. So that's great. And so I like to tell a little bit about myself when I start with my class. And I've been with Epicure now. May is my anniversary month, so it has now been 24 years. Oh my gosh, that was 23, but now I'm up to 24. And you know what? It's been such a wonderful journey. Epicure has offered me so many privileges in my life that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Just to name a couple: travel. I've been on, I think, 28 full paid vacations with Epicure. And I tell you, at Epicure, they go, I mean, 5-star. We even stayed in a 6-star one time. I didn't even think that existed. So they definitely, our next trip is to a beautiful all-inclusive adult resort in Mexico. And I've been able to take my daughter on a lot of those trips. And that's been one of the really neat perks, because I know at my old job, they weren't handing out trips. So not very often, well, at all, really. Usually if I did a good job at my old job, I got more work because I was a competent one. Anyways, glad that that's not what I'm doing anymore. And a couple other things that Epicure's offered me is flexibility and freedom. So, you know, through this last crazy year, I've been able to still be helpful to my customers and just find ways to reach out differently than we did before. So I don't say we call it a pandemic-proof business. However, I know that I'm really grateful. We've grown 65% in the last year, and it's because we've been able to still reach out and fill a niche and help people. So, of course, the Epicure Business Opportunity anywhere in North America. And if it's something you want to look at, ask myself or the person that invited you here, because this is an open class for my entire team, for more information, and we can get you that. There's actually once a week, there's a call that goes through all the opportunities with Epicure. So you can get an invite to that, or you can just talk one-on-one with who invited you here. So the next thing, so tonight we're gonna be doing a few things. So I am absolutely in love with this Simple Summer collection. It's one of the collections that we have in our new catalog. And if you haven't got a new catalog and you want one, reach out to the person that invited you here or myself. And I'm going to talk tonight about the Simple Summer collection, all the things you can make with it, and some of the things I've been making in the last week or so. And then I'm going to demo a couple of things, but one of the things is our yummy citrus cheesecake. So we'll be doing that. And I'm also going to be showing you how to make the barbecue sauce. And I'm going to show you the cornbread. We made that the other night. It was absolutely wonderful. And of course, if you want to host your own online virtual class like this, if you're in an area where you are lucky enough to be opened back up for gatherings, of course, the person that invited you here can do a live class where you can actually get together with people again. I know slowly some areas are experiencing that. And of course, there's always my once weekly class that you can just simply invite you and all your friends to, and you get to be the host and you get to collect the host's benefits. So super easy to to get Epicure for free. And as a host, you're going to get $100 or more in free products and discounts. It's usually a couple hundred. And so it's a great way to increase your Epicure pantry. So what I'm going to start with, just let me go back here and let me see. The first thing I want to start with is our easy peasy tacos. So now this is a plant-based taco mix. And when I first got this, I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. It looks like tacos. However, what I did was I went ahead and I made the mix up. And literally we were meeting some friends out and it was 1/4 the hour. We were supposed to meet them by 6:30. And I was like, I found out that Tim had already eaten. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to eat out if, I'll just eat before we go. And so I'm like, oh, what can I do quick? And I'm like, oh, the easy peasy tacos. So I literally mixed up the taco mix. So it's one of our collection packs. That's the cheesecake. And I mix it up. You mix it with a little water, let it rehydrate for a few minutes. I got my pan hot. You stir fry it in a pan just to brown it. And that's what it looks like. Can you all see it? It is, you would swear it was beef. So this is a plant-based protein. So it's pea protein plus some Mexican spices. So a lot of the meat alternatives on the market are like, they have 14 different ingredients. You might as well, I mean, the meat's healthier really. However, those processed fabricated meats, better than burger and stuff like that. I don't know the brand names. I don't want to really name the brand names, but they're full of all kinds of additives. So ours is one thing, one ingredient, plus spices. And they are delicious. So anyways, and we were only 10 minutes late because I was able to get them cooked. I quickly wrapped up a taco, ate it, and we ran out the door. So that's how quickly you can make those. So that is one of the things that's in our Simple Summer collection. And you just have to try it for yourself to believe how good it is. What I'm hoping is that they come out with this without the spices in it so that you can add it to any of our mixes that call for ground meat as a plant-based alternative, because what a great way to have your meatless Mondays, or if you're trying to incorporate a few days a week without meat, what a great way to do that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is this wonderful cheddar jalapeno cornbread. So cornbread's not, it's just really not a thing for me. I'm like, I don't know, it's okay. You get it usually with barbecue and things like that, and I usually don't eat it. But I'm like, I've got to try my own products, so I've got to give it a whirl. And I did, and I tell you, this is one of the best things I have ever tried. So it was super simple. In one bowl, you just put some milk and some butter, heat it up in the microwave so the butter melts. You whisk in 2 eggs, add your mix it together till there's no lumps, put it into the Epicure round steamer, which incidentally is one of the Hostess exclusive items this month, where you can get it at a really, really great discounted price. And you just give it a spray with no-stick spray or a little bit of oil. I use oil because I don't use non-stick sprays. Anyways, and there it is. Well, that's what's left of it anyways. So we cooked it up in here. I cooked mine in the microwave because I always like to try it to see, well, how is it going to be in the microwave? Because of course our steamers cook everything wonderfully in the microwave, but they also work in the oven. And it was 9 minutes and it was ready. And then you do 5 minutes where you let it cool down and then flip it out onto a wire rack. I just left it in here. The only thing I did differently, because of course, I always modify a little bit, is it called for 1/2 cup of cheese. So I put that in the mix, but I actually once it was ready and it was cooling down, I put some cheese on top. I don't know if you can see it's melted or not. There you go. You can kind of see it on top. Sorry, I've got one light that's out and I didn't have time to change it before the class once I realized it was out. So I hope the lighting's okay. But anyway, so Absolutely wonderful. And this is great because this simple summer collection, the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight, and you know, those of you that tune in all the time, and I know a ton of you watch the recording because I go into my YouTube and I can see how many people have looked at the recording. So welcome to all of you as well that we don't see on here live. However, you know, I usually feature one or two things, but because I'm talking about this whole simple summer collection, the reason is because we have holiday weekends coming up. So in Canada, it's this coming weekend. In the US, it's the next weekend, Memorial Day weekend. And I really feel like this collection has everything you need for your Memorial Day or your Victoria Day weekend in Canada. And so cornbread, that goes with a lot of different things like you can barbecue. We already had talked about the tacos, what an easy lunch or dinner. So I've got that one here. And of course, the cheddar bread also goes well with the baked beans. Now, I'm not a fan of baked beans. So I'm not always going to tell you that I love everything with Epicure. I love most things. This would be one thing I wouldn't like no matter who made it. However, I know a lot of people love them. My fella loves them, and I'm going to make them for him. And he says, that would be the perfect thing to dip the cornbread into. So I wouldn't know because I wouldn't ever eat these. However, I've heard they're really good. And again, super simple. It's like diced tomatoes, a little bit of molasses, which you can keep on hand. They keep up in the cupboard. Some vinegar and a couple tins of pinto beans, or if you know how to make them from scratch, all the better. And then you cook it again in that steamer, the round steamer or the square steamer. And it's 12 minutes and away you go. And they're like homemade baked beans. So what a great side also to have on your holiday weekend. And of course, have a holiday weekend without barbecue. So that's one of the other things in this collection is our smoked barbecue, smoking barbecue sauce. And so this makes a really, really easy barbecue sauce that you can make from scratch. So, and it contains so many, so few things. So we got ketchup, and I'm like, you know what, if Epicure is already sugar and sodium conscious, why go ahead and use full sugar ketchup? So I use the no sugar added ketchup. Why not? You can, if you reduce your sugar where you can. And then applesauce. Unsweetened applesauce, again, keep the sugar low. And then your mix and a little bit of water. That's it. And you bring it to a boil, let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and it's ready. And so what I did was, we made barbecue chicken the other night, so I marinated some of the barbecue chicken in that. Of course, Epicure cruets are a great thing to save this. This will save in your fridge for, I'd say like a week and a half or so. But here's what I do. Because there's only two of us, we're not going to necessarily use all of it. I'll show you what I did with the extra that I knew we weren't going to use because we are barbecuing again this week. So I know we'll use that. Of course, in our Epicure, this is our large ice cube maker. It's half a cup. And I've put 3 portions in there. So I'll pop these out. I'll put them in a Ziploc bag so that I have this free again. You can also use our Epicure muffin maker, and it's again half cups, and you just pop them out. So really easy way when you have extra amounts of things like that applesauce. It used half of a container of applesauce. So I don't eat applesauce, so I will just freeze it and pop out the pucks and put it in a Ziploc bag. The next time I make the barbecue sauce, I will have what I need. So same thing with these. So I love that you can freeze things in reusable portions. Okay, so I also added some of our Smoky Sriracha sea salt. If you like a little spicy, this is really good. And of course, I always tell people, Epicure is great for people that can't have salt. And because you can have all these beautiful flavors and there's no soda or low or no sodium in them. With store-bought products, you can't pull the sodium out. However, if you can have salt and you're used to salt, you're going to want to add a little bit of sea salt. So Epicure has a few varieties. We've got Smoky Sriracha, we've got a herb garlic, and we've got a regular sea salt in these beautiful grinders. And the grinder, you literally pop the top off, the grinder's there, flip it over and grind. So this one's great. It's great on things like eggs. I like it on hash browns. It's really, really good on fish. Anywhere you get like a little spicy kick because it's ground sriracha and salt. And then you see I made our barbecued chicken. And I barbecued the chicken with our barbecued chicken and rib. And I had marinated it in the sauce. So when we took it out, of course, we put it on the barbecue. I added a little bit of this barbecued chicken and rib. We discarded the rest of the marinade because, of course, there was raw chicken in it. And then I drizzled some of the sauce out of my cruet that the chicken hadn't been sitting in on top of it. And that's the one piece that's left over. It was so easy, so delicious. And people are going to think you're a gourmet chef. So super easy peasy. And that's another thing that is in our Simple Summer collection. Now, some other things that are really good and would be great for your holiday weekend is some of these things over here. So I'm just going over this way. Can you still all see me? Oh, maybe not. I'll bring them on up. So those two aren't, but they're good add-ons. So I am going to talk about these ones, and then we're going to get to our demo. So red garlic. So many people's favorite. It is red bell pepper and garlic ground together, and it's like a garlic salt, but it's got a bit of a, I wouldn't say a kick, it's not hot, but it's got that nice bell pepper flavor to it. And it's just come back into our line, but so many people gave feedback when this left that, what are you talking about? Red garlic's my favorite. They even had people phoning going, what can I replace it with? And I'm like, well, there's no real replacement. So I had a lot of happy customers when that came back. We also have our Tuscan chicken burger. So some of the things you can use this for, and what I really like about these collections too, is it comes with a whole meal plan and a 30-day dinner meal plan for all of the things that's in it, and gives you a recipe and it gives you a grocery list. You find all of this at epicure.com. You just write it down. And I know, I know, Vicki, that you ordered this. I don't know if you've received yours yet. So this is probably perfect for you, and you're going to be all set for your Memorial Day. So some of the recipes I like on here that use our Tuscan chicken burger. Now, what I found out is in the US, they don't call them chicken burgers, they call them chicken sandwiches. So when I say chicken burger, my fiance just laughs a lot about that. He's like, a chicken burger, what's a chicken burger? And but you can add it to ground chicken or ground turkey. And you can, to make a burger alternative to beef. And I know that Mariah shared with me today that she made one of our special items that I had given her as a wedding present, honey garlic meatballs, and she used turkey instead of beef. And she said they were wonderful. And she literally made it on her lunch hour. She said, like, when she was home, quick lunch, and she sent me a picture, they looked delicious. So same with the Tuscan, you can make Tuscan meatballs. That's another recipe on here, Tuscan chicken meatballs, or you could do turkey meatballs. You can also, with the Tuscan, another really good recipe is Tuscan salmon. So it's just like, it's like an Italian Tuscany type mix, and it's super delicious. So that's a nice alternative. And then if you want more of a fish burger, like salmon or tuna, what else do they say you can use here? Oh, you could use it on white fish, or you could do a crispy fish, is our West Coast burger. And again, I don't think you'll call in the US burgers when it's fish. It's probably more called a sandwich. However, you know what I'm talking about. And I also love this on fish. I made white fish tacos the other night, and you can also make shrimp tacos with this. And you literally take the white fish or the shrimp, just sprinkle this over top. A lot of Epicure things are sprinkle and go, or they have the recipes right here on the jars. So you don't have to worry about losing recipes, or you can go to epicure.com and print off recipes that aren't on the jar if you're wanting some new ideas or you want something a little different. So just so y'all know, so I've had people phone me and say, well, what do I do with such and such? And I'm like, well, on the side of the jar, there's like 4 or 5 suggestions. So another thing before we get to the citrus cheesecake that's in the Simple Summer collection is our red pepper jelly. Again, something that just came back. This is one of our core products that Sylvie started with when she started at farmers markets. It was one of the first 4 things, and it's still so popular, and it came back, and it's right now it's available just in the collection, but all of these things will be available for individual sale soon. If they haven't already come back this past Thursday, some of them will be coming back this next Thursday as well. But this red pepper jelly, so it's really, really good as a glaze on chicken. Of course, chicken, you can pretty much put anything with chicken, but it's also good. I make meatballs. So you can do any kind of meatballs you want. And I do little cocktail meatballs. And I do them in the steamer. And in the square steamer, it has a tray. So you can put the meatballs on the little tray, and I just mix them up with, I might throw in a little bit of the barbecue sauce. Another really good one would be like a beef and steak. That's our Montreal steak that we carry. Not in this collection, but it's another good barbecue summer spice to have. And then I cook them in that steamer. And I know Raya was asking me about this today because she's like, it says you're supposed to cook the meatballs in the microwave, but it's only in the steamer. You don't want to just put them on a plate and cook them, because we've all had like chicken or beef done in the microwave when it's not in a steamer. And the steamer makes a world of difference. It is what makes it come out well. So the meatballs in the microwave, though, they take 3 minutes. That's it. So, and it drains because it's sitting on a tray, and it drains as they're cooking. So then you just pull the little tray out, put those into a bowl. I take my red pepper jelly and toss it with the meatballs. Instant cocktail meatballs, they're delicious. So that's another thing you can do with that. And I'm just trying to see what else I've used. Another thing, the cornbread. So what you do is put a little bit of cream cheese on it and then some red pepper jelly, or you can do cream cheese and red pepper jelly on the crackers. So of course, an amazing product, well sought after. And the other 2 add-ons besides the beef and steak and the Montreal steak, we also have a Montreal chicken. But I mean, there is the Tuscan chicken in here, so you've kind of got something for beef. But I would also, what kind of holiday weekend would be without coleslaw or creamy potato salad? So what I love about the potato salad is in our steamers, you can dice those potatoes up and cook them. And you can literally throw whole eggs in with the potatoes. It takes about 7-8 minutes, and you can do up to 6 eggs. And then the steamer can be halfway with the potatoes, enough for what it calls for on here. And everything gets cooked all at once. And then what you do is you just use your tongs. Epicure tongs are great. And you pull those eggs and put them into a bowl and run some cold water over them so they stop cooking. And then the potatoes, you drain them, let them cool. You make up your dressing according to the directions here, and it's made half with mayo, half with Greek yogurt to kind of stretch it out a bit so it's not so calorie laden. And then you simply put the dressing in. You can also make a vinaigrette dressing out of this if you like a vinaigrette type potato salad. Super simple, and it's so delicious. One of our consultants posted today, can someone tell me the portion control on creamy potato salad, because I'm not in control. It's really, really good. So that's amazing. And then the coleslaw. I've never been a fan of coleslaw, but I tell you, once I tasted this dressing, I now really enjoy coleslaw. But I have this mixed up in my fridge, again, in one of those cruets, and I showed this on my class last week, how on the cruet, what you can do so that I know this, say, is barbecue sauce. And not so much myself, I remember what I put in my fridge, But say Tim's looking in there and he's like, I don't know, what's that? And how old is it? Well, you can put elastic bands, you know, that you get on produce from the grocery store, and put elastic bands and then write on the elastic band what it is. And then once that's finished, you haven't written on the jar, you can just pull the elastic band off, throw it in the garbage, and you haven't marked up your jar. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. I saw that on Facebook last week. Of course, I'm always trying to provide some extra kitchen hacks so that you get value besides just learning about the Epicure products, but you find you learn some extra things. So last but not least, who's ready to see the cheesecake? Okay, I know you're all muted, but I know you're saying yes, bring it, cheesecake. Who's not ready for cheesecake? So I've got my cheesecake pack. So it's the citrus lime no bake cheesecake, and I've opened it up and put it into a bowl. So I'm just going to grab my bowl here, and I kind of got some things ready prior, because I also sorry, not that one. Oh, there we go. I also know that, I mean, you're not going to want to stand or sit and watch me just mix things. So what I did was I cut open the packet, and remember, with your meal packets, always cut them along the black line at the bottom. 2 reasons for that. Well, if you're lucky enough to be doing live shows, or even at a virtual show, you can stand it up like a little sign, because they stand up all by themselves. But also for all of you at home that are cooking with these, you can read the recipe, because if you cut it wrong on top, you'll cut part of the recipe off. So, and it stands up like that. So I can stand here and read the recipe. It's its own little recipe stand. You can't see it standing, but see it stands just like that. So, okay. So I am going to put my glasses on. Fortunately, I need these. Okay, and so it says right on there, so I dropped my cream cheese in. It's just one of these blocks, your regular cream cheese from the grocery. You can use a light cream cheese if you prefer. I put that in just a mixing bowl like so, and I'm going to put this down a bit so you can see what I'm doing here. So I've got the mixing bowl, and I've put my cream cheese in there with the contents of the pack. And then it said to add, that I've got to add some lime. So I've got my lime here. And of course, I know most of you have heard my lime hack that I can see on here. I know Mariah hasn't. But what you want to do with limes is one of 2 things. Freeze them, and it breaks down all the fibers. And then when you use a juicer, you get way more juice out of your limes. And guess what? You'll never find them all brown and dried up and go, oh, and especially, I don't know if they get that expensive where you all live, but sometimes where I live up in Canada, they can be $1 a piece. So if they go bad, it's expensive. So what you do is you throw them in the freezer. But first of all, I just bought this one today. You give it a poke. And the reason you do that is because if you need it and you haven't taken it out early, haven't planned for that, you can literally put it in the microwave for 45 seconds and it'll be thawed. Otherwise, you can leave it on your countertop for about 45 minutes and it'll thaw. But anyways, so if this had been frozen, I just got them. I didn't even have time to freeze them when I got them home. All of these fibers here would be broken down and it would be just translucent. And then all that easily juices into whatever you're doing. So I put it in my juicer. And again, I've shown some of you this before, but you want to put it that way. When I first did it, I did it that way. And I ended up with a citrus facial because it squirted all upwards. But that made sense. But then I read the directions and it's really supposed to be this way. So I'm putting it in there, squeezing the juice. So it says juice of 1 lime. It also says that you can zest. So here's another trick with limes. If you want to zest a lime, what you want to do is, of course, freeze it. A frozen lime zests really easily. ones that aren't frozen, not as much. I didn't zest it because I'm not fond of zest. I find it makes it a little bit too like zingy lime. But also, if you haven't frozen your limes, so what I did do with this is I did warm it up. I let it sit out on my patio in the sun. If they warm, they make more juice. Not as much as if they've been frozen, but still more than if they're coming out of the fridge. So got my juice in there, and then it says to put in 1.5 cups of cream. So this is clearly a treat dessert, but it doesn't have a whole lot of sugar. And then I'm just going to take and mix that together. So I just use one of these hand mixers. It's just gonna be noisy for a minute here. Okay, I just want to show you how fast it is. It says pretty much whip it like that until it's formed peaks. It's looking kind of peaky to me, so I think that's about all it needs. And now I'm going to take and I'm going to spoon it into whatever I have chosen to make. So I'm going to show you some options. So with Epicure, we have these cute little mini loaf pans. And you can use them to make any kinds of loaves, like banana bread or zucchini bread or things like that. But they're also a 2-size serving of the cheesecake. So all you do is take some graham crumbs that you've added a little bit of butter to, press them into the bottom, and then scoop in about 3/4 of the way up your cheesecake mix, smooth it out. A good utensil to smooth it out is rather the 4-in-1 spice spoon, because it's got a nice flat back, or you can also use our cute little spatula. And I love this because it gets every last bit of anything. Here, I'll show you, out of containers. So it literally, you can get it right down. So, I mean, you pretty much just have to give it a quick rinse and it's all out of there. And of course, these are our prep bowls. They also serve as measuring cups. So they're up to 3/4 of a cup, 1/2 cup and 1/4 cup. And that's what I use to measure my whipping cream in. So these are the mini loaf pans. Those are great. They're also great for making like individual meatloaves, or you could freeze ice, like water in them. And they're nice blocks of ice if you don't have a really huge cooler, and just put them in a Ziploc bag. Another option, still going for the individual sizes, is our muffin tins. They come in a set of 2. And again, you put about a tablespoon of your graham crumb mixture with your butter. The recipe's on the graham crumb jar. And then just spoon about 2 tablespoons of the mix in, smooth them over. I might even go right to the top, pop them in your freezer, which is what you're going to do with however you choose to do it. And then you have little individual. And once they're frozen, they pop out. And again, I would put them probably not in a Ziploc bag, but in some sort of a maybe Tupperware container, pop them in your freezer. And those nights where you're like, I just need a little sweet after dinner, wouldn't that be perfect? And just, plump some whipped cream on top and away you go. Or if you have company show up and you didn't have anything ready, it's like, oh no, bring dessert, I've got something I can pull out of the freezer. Another option, of course, is the Epicure silicone cake pan. And again, graham crumbs in the bottom, and you would use a full recipe, and you would use the full recipe of the cheesecake. And that would make an entire cheesecake. And again, once it's frozen, you can pop it out onto a plate one way, and then you pop it onto another plate, and you would have it plated. Then you can decorate it with slices of lime and some whipped cream. And then last but not least, graham cracker crust. They sell them, I think this is $1.29 today at Safeway. You spoon it into that, smooth it up, throw it in the freezer. And again, if you're serving it because you're having people over, or you can also cut it into slices and do the same thing. put it into a Tupperware container, and you've got desserts you can pull out of the freezer, let sit on the counter for about 40 minutes, and they'll be delicious. So does anyone have any questions about anything I went over? All good? Okay, great. Well, I thank you all for coming again. And the Simple Summer Collection is available on our website, or you can contact the person that invited you to this class, or if you're watching the recording, get back with the person that sent you that recording. And of course, like I say, if for Memorial Day, for sure, if you ordered it right away, it would be here well in time. And in Canada, if you were to order it straight away tomorrow morning, depending on your location, it might likely be there in time. Can't promise that. However, it's really a good collection to have all summer long. So don't forget, if you'd also like to get it for free and earn your own, talk to the person that invited you about hosting your own virtual class or your order collection. You can take books around and just do an order collection, or you can also, like I say, in places that are where people are able to gather again, you're lucky enough to do that, you can actually have a soiree, have your friends over and have a live class, and that's the best option you get to taste. However, we can send you samples if we're still in virtual mode in your area. So thank you all again. Next week, I'm going to be talking about our Epic Life program, and I'm going to be making some of the other yummy recipes out of that book, some of my favorites. So everybody have a good night, and I will see you next week.